of Aviation Commissioners monthly meeting to order, March 10th, 2022. Members present, myself, Kurt Hunter, Greg Poulin, Jeff Bartlett, T.Y. Okeson. All members are present. We have a quorum. Also present, Jessica Ward, Airport Manager, and Paul Schaefer from BFNS. And we have, could you introduce yourself, sir?
I'm Brian Burgess. How you doing?
Nice to meet you, Brian. And you are here because...
I have the proposed hangar project here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Excellent.
On the pilot himself.
Okay. Let's see.
We've got to celebrate this. We don't have, it's been a long time we have the public coming in to see the...
Oh, I figured as much.
Yeah, it's like, who are you? No. Yeah, I did. I invited him.
So you can come on down. I said, sure, I'll have to come on down to your meeting. So,
Yes.
Then we get a chance to read the minutes of the January 13th meeting.
Yes.
Make motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, good. I second.
Second? All in favor?
Yep.
Aye. Motion carries.
All right, counterbalances. So we are looking good in all of our accounts so far. We might have an issue with building repair. Now that we have a tenant in a rental hangar, we've had to make a few repairs already this year. We only started out with $1,353 in that account to begin with, and we've easily, let's see where we are in it now. Building repair, we've used 37.23% already of that account. So we also have something else that down later on that's going to come out of that, our lighting replacement and that rental hangar. So that's going to put us well over what our budget is for that. So I might have to go and ask the council to approve an appropriation for that later towards the end of the year. We don't need it now, just because we need replacement lighting in that hangar as well, and that ended up being like $3,400 for that. So that needs to also come out of that same account that we only have.
Are we allowed to use that $150,000? So we can't use that as the
No.
grant then?
Not for...
That's not, well, so it's not considered revenue
Yeah,
generating?
I mean, it's only $3,000 for it, so I mean, it's something that I'm gonna be able to take out of our operating budget, but the operating budget, I just might run over in that account. But usually, towards the end of the year, if you guys remember, we move money around, and so we cover all the accounts that have negative balances to make sure, and so I don't think it's gonna be an issue by the end of the year, but I'm just letting you guys know right now that we might run into a problem.
Where did you take it out of?
We're taking it out of the building repair.
With the $850 in it?
Yes, the $850 in it. Yep. So we started out with $1,353 and we've used 37% so far, just on hangar stuff. We had the latch repair in there, that came out of that. And then remember when the door was stuck open on the weekend? They had to come out and fix the door and change out, the button panel because it was all corroded. So that came out of that. That's what the building repair fund is for.
Well, and then they also did the baffles all around.
Yeah, that I took it out of last year's money. I encumbered that, so.
So while we were fixing the hangar, do we have access to the money, the rent that we get in from the hangar?
That's a good question. I haven't talked to the controller's office really about that.
Shouldn't the proceeds from the rent be helping to upkeep and maintain?
Yeah, I can talk to them about that and see, if we can set something up like that.
I don't see that money come back to the airport, put that in a little slush fund for that stuff.
Yeah, for like hangar, because we own a hangar and somebody's running it. Yeah, I will definitely talk to them about that.
Okay.
It's something that I've brought up before, so I'll have that conversation.
I don't know, it seems kind of odd, the aviation fuel sales don't come back to us directly as well, so if they decline that, it wouldn't surprise me, but we'll see.
Also, we are going to have to go to the council to approve our local matches for the AIP 27 and the BIL local match at the bottom, $10,081.50 and $7,950. That didn't affect us the last 2 years. because the FAA had matched our local, had paid for our local matches, so we didn't have that. But this is the first year that we actually have to pay our own local matches on projects. So that's something that we're gonna have to do for the council. They're requiring all local matches for all grants, citywide, to come before them so they can approve the local matches before you seek out the grants. So that's the only other thing on here. Everything else is good.
Fuel sales.
Fuel sales, overall we sold 320.3 gallons of 100 low lead, 85.6 gallons of Swift fuel in February. Self-service price has not changed, $4.41 a gallon. Full service is $4.56. Jet A is $3.35. Actually, it has changed.
I'll just fill up my truck there.
Yeah, our fuel prices have went up a little bit. I think they're $4.43, $4.41, and $4.56, and then $3.63. Jet A went up too.
What is the,
But that was still, it was 2 months ago when I raised those prices,
what
so.
is the Swift balance?
The Swift is still $4.43, that one hasn't changed.
And so the fuel price is not affecting yet?
Correct. As soon as I order a new load of fuel on all of them, they're probably 100% gonna go up. Because I was looking at LaPorte, I put on the bottom what theirs are. Looking at LaPorte's, they went up to $5.05 for 100 low lead self-service,
Okay.
and we're at $4.41.
Okay, so we should be attracting a few.
Correct.
changes now.
Our full service is $4.56 and theirs is $5.15.
Okay.
And then our Jet A is $3.35 and theirs is $4.29, and Velcro's $4.64.
This is great.
So, we're really low. But as soon as I order fuel, I'm gonna have to go up to whatever the fuel cost is.
Yeah, just it.
But yeah, for right now, we're sitting really good in there.
Okay, now, here's a question with the Swift fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Are they gonna go up? I mean, they have a different kind of chemical management for that. Then-
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
They haven't gone up for
Well,
us
I'll be
in a long time.
surprised if they go up, because they're not using crude material for it.
Yeah, I think the only reason that they go up, because they have gone up quite a bit since when we first started getting it, and that's just because of shipping and all the costs related to that are up.
Yeah. I'm just-
So those kinds of costs are up, which is why they've gone up, but yeah, maybe not the specific.
Hopefully they'll just keep it where it is. Okay.
Flight Saga.
Flight Saga update, yes. Today, I just received a copy of his certificate of insurance. Charlie Keene on our end now has to take a look at it, let me know that everything looks good and they meet our minimum standards. And then they're gonna be able to operate. They're kind of waiting for the weather to warm up and the weather to get better, and they're ready to go with students as soon as the insurance is approved and, they're allowed to go. So I just got that today, so hopefully maybe by this weekend, if Charlie has a chance either today or tomorrow to look at it, they can be upgoing, but this weekend won't be nice, right? We're supposed to get like 2 inches of snow,
Sunday's supposed to be.
So,
Does Flight Saga have a flight instructor and all of that lined up? Okay.
yeah, and he's gonna talk all about that during our open house today, the open house for our board members. So Thor is working on signage, and he's gonna run, of course, the sign and design and all that by me before he finalizes it. He is gonna put a standalone sign at the hangar instead of on the building as requested by the board. He does have several students who are waiting to go.
Nice.
And the open house is from 4 to 6 for board members and airport staff. He is planning on having an open house for the public, but once he's up and running and, they've started and everything, maybe in the next month or 2, he said. So that's the Flight Saga update. Security cameras on airport perimeter fencing. We did this past month have a couple of break-ins during weekend overnight hours. So I'm going to speak with our city IT about installing cameras on airport perimeter fencing. They set off an alarm in one of the hangars when they tried to break into it. Most of the hangars up here now have alarms. They have security cameras. They have better, locks and things on them, deadbolts and such. So it discourages break-in attempts. All tenants have been notified of the break-ins, and I just kind of reminded them to make sure that their buildings are secure before they leave for the day. A lot of times, like when they're flying and stuff, they'll leave their hangar doors open and all that stuff, but just before they leave, to go for the day, that they just make sure that their hangars are secure.
Any damage or anything that was stolen?
Yes, well, there was damage to one thing in a hangar. It was like a dirt bike. They kind of like bashed out the headlights of the dirt bike and tried to pull it out and they just dumped it. They didn't even like take it or keep it or anything.
But they did get it outside the
They
fence.
got it outside the
A
fence.
pistol was stolen, I don't know, this air pistol or something like that, that was stolen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I
What was
just,
Yeah, the
stolen?
police didn't tell me that. So.
well, I found that out from Ron yesterday.
Really?
So, it wasn't from his hangar, but from some other hangar.
Huh.
So they-
Like a pellet gun thing?
Yeah, one of those air things, I mean.
The airsoft gun?
Police don't care about that really, I mean, those are not licensed things,
Right.
so.
Okay. Middle school drone camp. So I recently did just have a meeting for the middle school drone camp. We talked about that, of course, before COVID started. We're going to be having it this summer or fall here, depending on how things go. We are in the planning stages. We're going to be purchasing some drones and equipment from that money that was donated to us for the camp itself. And the equipment is going to be owned by the airport. All purchase will have to go through the controller's office and follow our purchasing policy. And I'm also hoping to get some computers from City IT to have out here for the camp because they're going to have the software on it and everything to go through for the drones. So
Who's
that's
teaching
kind of
the
getting
camp?
started up. The gentleman's name is, I can't remember his name. I'll have to get back to you. It's the same one that was teaching it before, though. Super nice guy, owns a marketing company right up the road from
Oh,
us.
yeah.
Yeah, you even talked to
I
him, I
met
think
him.
you were here for that, so, I can't remember his name though. Great guy.
Yeah.
And then Johnny Stingley is a big part of it as well, a supporter, so. Rental hanger 852 lighting replacement, I just kind of talked about that. So the new LED lighting, it's actually under emergency conditions. So new LED lighting is going to be installed in the rental hanger. Late January, a fixture actually fell off the ceiling and fell onto the ground in there and shattered everywhere. Luckily, his airplane was not under it. It was like in the back corner, and this happened in the front corner. So that was really good. City IT found it as they walked in the hangar to run the fiber, and then they actually ended up capping the severed, like, hanging electric wire for us, which was nice. So I called Marquis Electric out. They inspected the rest of the lights and said that eventually all of them are going to fall off like that because it was due to improper installation. Years ago, decades ago, he said, looking at the fixtures and how old they were. He said they were hung with nails. So the nails are just like letting loose out of the boards. So he advised that the fixtures being as old as they are, they're a fire hazard and they definitely need replaced. So new LED fixtures have been ordered. They're going to be installed by Marquis Electric as soon as they come in. So Rudy and I cleaned up all the glass and let the tenant know, and, Marquis, I already had him order the, new lights. So hopefully we have no other issues going forward with that building, because boy, have we fixed a lot now that we have a tenant in there. Seriously. So that's gonna come out of the building repair fund. And that's it for me. Oh, here's, if anybody wants to see the estimate for Marquis.
Speaking of the rental hangar, I think some tenants have complained that they're not getting internet.
Yeah, I talked to Ron, he said that it's been fixed, there's no issues anymore.
Okay, no issues, all right.
Airport development, Paul.
Sure. On your agenda there, item 1, the runway project. We've got several motions under here. We did receive word from your new program manager. You had a new one. And his name is Joseph now. He replaced Kyle from last year. He replaced a whole list of
Oh, I don't, you want the folder?
We haven't been able to meet any of these people in person recently because their offices are also not occupied. But we were told in the next 2 to 3 months they'll be back, so I'd like to go up and do a face-to-face and get us back in the cadence of
That'd be nice.
of getting attention. But we did get the word from Joseph that he does want the final grant application, which has been emailed to you, and then a summary version is attached in your packet. This application's a total of $201,630. It involves the advertisement of the temporary road and the storm sewer project, which is, knock on wood, the first phase of the runway, the actual runway construction. that as of right now, they have planned to start in 2023. So the first motion is basically to allow us to submit that final grant application for the packet.
Taking a number to it, Paul?
Total amount?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be for AIP 27, and it's a total amount of $201,630, with your share being $10,081.50, which is the same number that
Yeah, I hope so.
shows on her
Are
spreadsheet.
we allowed to pass these motions without prior approval?
Yeah, just because we are able to say no to the grant if we do get it, and we can't, we're not allowed to do our local match.
We will not have an actual grant offer from them until probably August. So I think that's, Jessica was talking about earlier, getting on the council agenda to
Yeah, to make
approve
sure
the
before we get a grant offer.
10,081, and also then we'll ask at the same time for the bipartisan infrastructure match, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Okay, I make a motion, we approve grant AIP 27,201,630.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, the second part is really almost the same thing. It's part of the grant application, but it's sponsor certificates. You only have to do these every 3 years, so it's been 3 years since you've done them, but I attached those for your review. But these are the things like you're only gonna do, you're gonna select a qualified consultant, you're only gonna, do contracts with contractors that are eligible to do federal work, you're gonna pay Davis Bacon wages, you're gonna follow all the advisory circulars, those 6 things. So all of those are attached and fill out legally from
I
there.
thought we already submitted this.
We have a few years back.
3 years.
3 years ago. But I brought a copy earlier, a couple months ago, maybe January, that we didn't end up signing, but in case legal wanted to review or anything like that, I brought a copy. But now that we're submitting the application, we want to submit it with signature to them.
And this is just Kirk signing this, right? Kind of like HR paperwork.
Exactly. You're not gonna do business up to Iran, you're not gonna allow human trafficking on here or all this.
All the cool stuff.
No texting and driving either.
Yeah, that is on there.
Yeah.
No texting and driving. I'm gonna watch you.
How's that? No texting and flying.
Right? GPS, it's not working!
Yeah. So, those are, I've had some clients ask if they can negotiate how the language is in them, and the answer is no, it's the FAA's language, so they're kind of accept them as they are, or you don't accept the grant. It's kind of the way it works.
To run the development.
Right. Yeah, it's their money, so, or I guess, sort of.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve FAA sponsor certification.
Second?
Yep, I do.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, and then the third part is the independent fee estimate for the 2022 grant application. So now, anytime there is a application with fees more than $100,000, they require a third party, basically consultant, to look at it and to see if they come up with the same numbers or in the ballpark. So what happens is and it has to be a consultant that is engaged in aviation work, but not in the market in which the airport's at. In other words, it can't be a consultant that would normally propose on the project here. So it can't be you. It can't be me, and it can't be even R.W. Armstrong, who used to work here, or anybody else who might be interested in performing the services. So we have gotten kind of a an agreement with a Kentucky company called FOF, and we've had the FAA approve them on other projects. So I'm recommending you will reach out to FOF. And so how that works is there's a man-hour justification that was included with the agreement when we originally signed it. It's got all the hours that we are gonna put in it. It's and then there's the scope of the services, everything we're gonna do. So I send that to Jessica along with a little cover letter that says we'd like to engage you in an independent fee estimate. They're used to doing these, they know what that means. And then Jessica will send them the scope of work that explains everything, but without the price. And it's just in the spreadsheet that doesn't have any of the hours built into it. So now their task, once they do it, and those range from $3,000 to $4,000. I think I put $3,500 on here on them. So this one's a pretty simple one, so I think it'll be, $3,500 or less. They have to then populate the spreadsheet with the hours that they think it would take them to do it, and then they come up with a total price. They send that back to Jessica, and then once Jessica gets it, it's kind of locked there. And if we're plus or minus 10% of that fee, no harm, no foul, it goes into, then, we package it up with the application, send it to an FAA. So that's how that works. And $3,500 is eligible and has been built into the grant application already.
You said this company's FAA approved?
Well, FAA doesn't approve them, but we've used them on others and the FAA's accepted them. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So
I was gonna say, do they have a list of these companies?
we could provide more companies if you want to, but yeah, they have,
No, that's
right,
I'm
they
just
have.
Curious how the system is worked, like.
So somebody in Kentucky could reach out to you and ask you to do the same thing.
And we do it for them.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Do you work interstate too with the other GA airport reps?
We do, but we try not to.
Because then you'd be seeing what they're, you might be trying to take their business maybe or something.
That's exactly the point of somebody not engaged in the market that you're.
Okay, so we're
Right.
talking the whole state.
Right.
Because they could do an RFQ, if we ever did one.
Right. So it'd be basically any consultant who's interested in submitting for the same projects we are, we wouldn't want to use them.
I see.
Right? And the airport wouldn't want us to use them. You want to try to keep it kind of, you don't want them to be motivated to undermine or inflate it or do whatever. It's just, and that's just.
So does this particular company have other clients in the other state, Ohio or Kentucky or whatever?
They have clients in Kentucky,
Okay,
but they don't have any clients in Indiana.
very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And that's both engineering is who we would recommend.
How do you spell that?
send it to. FOTH.
And are there other, do you have a list of a bunch of them?
I could give Jessica a list of some others if she wants to send it to other people. Sure.
We only want to send it to one though.
You don't have to send it to multiples because it's only a $3,000
Yeah.
contract.
Make it more, so we can approve this, but we can use what we want, correct?
Yeah, you can, right, that's why I didn't put the name in there. It's up to $3,500. And then if she wants to reach out to other people, we can give her some other names if you're.
Perfect. I'll make a motion to solicit the FAA requirement independent fee estimate for our 2022 grant, not to exceed $3,500.
5 seconds.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carried.
One of the last item is an motion item under the runway, but it's just, we still need to wrap up that utility easements on the Leslie property. So I need to circle back with Bill on that and just get it. He said they're agreeable to the swap, so I don't think it should be a big deal. Airport maintenance building. So this is item number 2, airport maintenance building. So we've got this money from the city, from the casino funds that we can put towards the actual building. But as we kind of talked before, I was a little concerned we were gonna run out of money because of the, we wanted to have the parking lot paved. We want to bring a driveway in and move the gazebo over and put a gate in, all those things, and then just the drainage considerations for the site back here. So I was pretty confident that we would exceed the allotment. But with the bill, bipartisan infrastructure bill, which we're going to talk about next, it frees up. So this year, you don't need that money to go towards the runway project. So what we were proposing is that you use it towards any shortfall in the maintenance structure. So you have 179,000. We'll put the packages together, solicit it. If you don't use it all, then that, whatever the balance of the 179 gets pushed into the next.
159.
So it's 179 with all the matches, so.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, the federal share is 159, your share is 8,833. Which that seems different than the number you had on your sheet.
Yeah, I was just showing 159.
Oh, you did 5% of 159.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 159 is 90% of the total.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the actual total amount with all shares in there is 176,667. 159 is the federal share. So if you do 176,667 times 90%, you should get 159.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then your share is 5%, and then the state of Indiana has agreed to go ahead and match
Yeah,
these.
because I just looked at like on here, 2022, it just says that MGC will receive 159 per year.
Right, sorry, and that's federal funds, right, because requiring a 5% local match. Yeah, I should have done all that math out on the,
That's what yours says too, though.
right. And that is true, 90% Fed, so it's the 159 is the federal share,
Okay.
right?
Okay, you're saying the feds will give us 159, state will give us 833, then we go in front of the council and ask for that too.
Yeah, did you figure out what it was? What is it?
So that's, he said 8833.
Yeah, I'll check it real quick again, so 170.
Because I want to make sure I'm right when I...
667 divided by 0.9.
Not to exceed $5 million. No.
Yeah, that's correct.
Too.
What is correct?
So the total all shares in is 176,667.
Okay,
The federal share is 159,000.
okay.
And the local match is $8,833
1,833.
with the
Got it.
same state of match.
Exactly what
Just need to smart guy.
Okay, so what we're looking at then is getting us started on that work so we can procure costs. So I put that agreement, that task order in here, and what we're looking at is not a full design, it would be a design build contractor, which is more than adequate for this because it's going to be a pole barn, so we don't need to design out every detail of the pole barn. The contractors all have people in place, so it should be in the packet, the very, starts, yeah, it's the first page of it.
It's like towards the end, right?
The double page.
Maybe this way a little bit more. Yes.
Yeah, there's the fee, yeah, so that appendix D is the. So we're calling this snow removal equipment building. And the reason is because the maintenance building is not exactly, there's parts of it that are eligible, parts that aren't. And it gets also confused with aircraft maintenance building in the FAA's world. And the true purpose is to store your snow removal equipment and so forth, which is a clearly ineligible item. So this is more of a semantics issue. It's still the same pole barn we've been talking about. And be a design build, so we're gonna put together the scoping documents, the same thing, the plane plan sheets, which would be about 6 sheets.
And the reason that this started like this early is because we actually got a notification from the controller's office saying they want to take this before the Board of Works, like end of March. So we need like this done quick for the money that we got for this building. So that's one of the reasons why it's kind of like, we're ready
That's good.
to move.
Right, but we won't have the price of the building.
Or was it April? She put something on it or whatever.
Yeah, I put a schedule in here, but I don't know if it's, let's see. So the schedule we have is design criteria package would be done May 12th, advertised at May 13th with the opening June 23rd. And I think the bipartisan infrastructure funds, they should be available in September at the latest, because they're this fiscal year. But I think the applications are gonna be due in June, so that's why we kind of put it all to be aligned in June. If there's a deadline on the other money, we probably ought to look at that.
Yeah, there definitely is.
Okay.
I don't have my phone on me or else I'd look real quick. I'll look after the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw what you said, but how did you arrive at the final footprint of the building and the heights?
So we basically used the pole barn footprint that Jessica had been looking at before, which is,
Yeah, it was kind of like, remember where the FSI building was? We talked about doing like a building back there.
Brenda?
Back by the hangar section, we talked about doing a building, and we had a couple of people like send us, you know what I mean, like, so we kind of used that same design.
same concept.
Yeah, same concept.
So now we're gonna take that concept, put it into a more formalized package, so all the contractors have their design team and their builders all bidding the same thing. Because we'll show where the driveway is, where a drainage pipe is, the number of doors, 3 overhead doors on the front, a couple on the back, so you can get mowers out the backside, without pulling everything out of the building. All that kind of stuff. Plus then we've got some admin in there for the FAA side of stuff, and then we've got a little bit of money in there for the actual bidding, question time, review that and award that, prepare all the contracts. And that's all. If you're doing it locally, it'd probably be a little less, but when you get the federal side, we've got it in there. So it's $5,000 for the admin of the grant administration and all that jazz. 21 grand for the criteria package and the plan sets, and then 4,000 for the proposals and get that all in there. So that's a total of 30. And we've got 220 from the city, and we've got the 176. So this would come out of that, and then we'd have the balance for the construction.
The package has a bifold door. Is a door like Troy Church has on his, is that significantly more expensive, or?
Well, so we weren't planning on doing bifolds. We were gonna do roll-up garage doors because of snow removal. And we were planning on 3 of them, 3 12-foot wide to get them in there. But we need to look at the snowplow next year.
Are you thinking of this building? This isn't this building?
No.
Oh, you're not? Okay, just making sure, because ours should not have any overhead door at all.
A bifold.
Just push it.
I mean, you can, the building you're in, which is more of an aircraft hangar, has a bifold door. But on this one, we were planning on overhead roll-up garage doors. Primarily because they're insulated better and they seal better. So it's easier on your heat.
I think that's what I was looking at on my phone.
That's what you were looking at, I'm pretty sure, but.
Yeah. So but we haven't laid that out yet. Exactly. We have a nice concept.
Yeah.
We've got a good idea to catch up to. So that's totally up to you. It's your call. I'm not in any big hurry to start that, but if you want us to get going on it, because the city wants us to start getting ready to use the money, then we need to move on it. And otherwise, if you don't, otherwise we have until August.
Oh, I'm ready. I was ready January 1st.
Okay.
So, y'all better be ready.
So we're ready,
We're ready.
I think.
We need Lulu.
Thank you, Jeff.
What do we need to do?
Make a motion.
Yeah, to approve test number 4.
Oh, I'm really looking at it. Number 4.
TY, you made my whole day.
Come on, Greg. Second?
Oh, I'll make a second, sure.
Cool.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carried.
Okay, very good, we'll get started on that. And then the last item is the bipartisan infrastructure law. And we went through the match there, so sorry about that. The 159 is federal share. And so on the back of your agenda, it's really small print because it's not very good on the 8.5, but there is a copy. So the NDOT and FAA did not do us any favors. They basically pushed something out on February, well, I believe it was February 18th, and asked for it to be turned around on March 4th on a submission for and they were primarily concerned with the infrastructure column. So there's 3 red columns on here, and in the report, you'll also notice there's the infrastructure fund column. That's the first red column, and that's the money we were just talking about the first year we're going to use towards the SRE building. And then the subsequent years, there's 4 more years. It's a 5-year bill. So it would be 4 more years of those infrastructure funds, and those were a set amount. It's based on formula, based on how much money was available. There's 2 more columns on here. Right now they're blank. The one column is terminal projects, and the other column is tower projects. So there's some of the infrastructure money that's specifically set aside for those 2 things. You don't have a tower. You're not going to qualify for an FA tower, so we don't even need to talk about that one. You do have a terminal, and there is 5% of the pot of money is for general aviation, or I should say general aviation, for non-primary airports. And so a non-primary airport is anybody besides like Indianapolis or O'Hare or Midway, but it includes South Bend, Evansville, Fort Wayne, people that have scheduled service. It's not, it really is not very much money. If you did the math on it, and everybody got some of it, it'd be like $24,000 per airport. So you can see where it's not gonna go all that far. It's basically $1 billion a year for that period of time and to give you an idea, Indianapolis International's terminal cost $1 billion. So if you did one primary airport, it'd be one terminal. So it's not going to go very far. So I don't want you to get your hopes up that this is going to go well for us, but it doesn't hurt to ask. So there's a separate application that is due for that, for the terminal funds, and it's due March 28th. So
They just built that terminal down there.
Oh, yeah, that was an example.
that was just an example, right? Okay, Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, there you go.
Columbus, Ohio wants to build a new terminal. They're estimating $1.5 billion. So,
Crazy.
Mine will be pleased.
yeah. I'm sure they'll ask Spirit.
Right?
For some money.
We got our own hardships right now.
Okay, so that's kind of the program. So we went ahead and submitted the normal infrastructure money with this concept of the first year would be used on the snow removal equipment building, and all 4 years after that would be put towards the runway. Because we're gonna have the runway project going, we need as much money as we can get towards the runway project at that time. So that's what we did. The board didn't get to decide on that because it was due before that. You're welcome to, we can discuss that. We can change it if you'd like. Right now, it's just a placeholder.
Well, we weren't counting on any of this money. This is kind of nice little bonus money. How were we gonna fund all those other things on here? Like this 159 for 2023. I mean, all that stuff wasn't part of the original plan, correct?
Right, and exactly.
So how is this I thought we had this already funded.
No.
We still have to come up with.
Far from, yeah. So of the 5 years that they had programmed, they had about 15 million. We need 24 million.
Okay.
So we're
Did you go up that much?
Yeah. So Greg's been playing along at home. So inflation is real. And the sewer lines that we're talking about using some of this for is part of this, the water and sewer lines. We originally had a number in there under 2 million, and now we're at 4.5 million between the two of those. And so we have been talking to other folks too, and there's been some emails come in on that, on how we might be able to finance that to cash flow it in the event the FA can't come up with that money on the front end, we'll pay it back on the back end. We certainly don't want that to be the showstopper for the project. So we're investigating some other options, but in the matter of good faith, in the big picture, this money is chump change in comparison to the $24 million ask. But by not showing it going there, it kind of says, Runway's not really that important. We got all these side projects.
No, this is good. I mean, it's good faith. We're putting all of our money that we got back into the project.
Right.
So yeah, that's what we're doing. Okay.
Yeah. So that was Jessica's thought on that.
We're fine.
You know, and then Jessica and I had talked, and the TYU brought up before of the kind of 24-hour pilots restroom and lounge area. You know, we could put something like that on, like a terminal expansion improvement, and see what kind of traction we get with it, if you'd like us to, if it pleases the board. We have others that are doing, like DeKalb County's gonna ask for a new facade on their building. They're not asking for a new building, but a new facade. Elkhort's gonna ask for new windows in their terminal building. So, I mean, we've got, honestly, I don't think any of them will get any money, but it doesn't hurt to ask. It just definitely.
We can ask, I think.
That could be good. If we don't have sewers to the hangars or anything like that, at least people can work out here at all times of the hour, have access to the restaurant.
Yeah.
So they have
That was my
restroom
original
access
proposal,
now, right?
so.
You have restroom access now.
Yeah, we have restroom
But
access.
you just don't have a place for them to sit out and rest.
Yeah.
I think TY's concern was if a pilot gets weathered in and then is stuck here for an extended period of time, but it's not quite enough time to maybe go justify getting a hotel or something, maybe
Yeah.
4 or 5. But they have a warm, dry, comfortable place to rest.
Big lady boys. Cool.
Well, we'll work on that and decide how.
Do you want me to do that? If you want me to do it, I'd like you to tell me to do that as a motion, because there will be effort, so you'll probably see like a $300 bill, to be honest with you.
I would like that to happen, so I'll make the motion.
So we want to change the CIP, is what you're saying?
No, he wants to add for the terminal request.
Right, but that would be doing this.
Yeah, we'll just update this sheet, we'll turn it back into the state with that, but more so, there's an electronic application that's due by March 28th. And so you'd be authorizing me to update this sheet.
Plus $300.
Right, and I'm guessing it's gonna take us, it'll take Katie England,
Yeah, Kate England.
about 2 hours, and she's charging about $141 an hour, so I'm guessing it's just a little under $300.
But there's no dollar amount on what we're.
I know.
On the ask, we don't even know what we're asking.
I have to make something up.
You can do that.
I mean,
Well, I mean, my question is, what,
Will it hold us back from anything else?
what's that?
Would it hold us back from anything else?
I don't think so. I think the application is really quite simple that they've got. I think it's kind of a weed out kind of application, to be honest with you, to see if it even qualifies. And I don't know if they're gonna take like little projects, but I mean, in my mind, what I've got is a couple $100,000 to put a expansion onto this building that would do what you're talking about, and have basically a 24-hour pilot waiting room and a restroom. with its HVAC, its own locking system, security camera.
Well, what about, would it be freestanding? Does it have to be attached to this building?
Yeah, because I think when T.Y. and I were talking about it, it was more like a freestanding building, kind of maybe with like a connector of some kind.
Because the restroom is here.
Yeah, because the restroom is right here, so it doesn't need another restroom.
Yeah.
It just, we just want to put a shack out there that's got internet and a nice little entrance to here. You know, because they have those like shed buildings that are,
We can build
people
that.
are turning them into whatever, right?
Did you have a dream on, did you have anything on that, any documentation, like, what you envisioned, maybe a sketch of the floor plan or any?
Well, you know, the
cost?
lofted dream was to have something where you had a loft on the top and people can walk up there and watch airplanes come, but I don't want that. What I really want is the joy that I get when I fly to some airports and there's a beautiful, nice pilot's lounge, and I have never had to take a hotel. I mean, I've flown to so many places, and I just sit there, I chill out, and there are restrooms, there are snack, little bar thingies, and it's all free. So we don't have to do that. I mean, all I was thinking about was a nice, structure where when transients come in, some of them don't really want to go to a hotel.
Yeah.
They can just jump in there, sit down, rest for 2 hours, 3 hours, and then they take off. Usually after hours. I'm here most of the time after hours. I see a lot of them just sitting out there. And I know they'll appreciate our space.
Maybe you can share some of those pictures that you've been to those places that you really admire. At least,
Yeah, well, I don't know if I have pictures, but, you don't think of that when you go to places.
But, I mean, we have some clients that have, most of the time it's part of the terminal building and it kind of locks off separate, but I understand if you want to build something out there in the grass area with a breezeway between the two, okay.
it's called a tiny home.
Yeah, I can come up with an estimate.
And I think the expenditure is gonna be less because we're not looking for sewage, we're not looking for a toilet, we already have that. So they just walk across and use the restroom, and then they walk right out.
Electric and heat and air, I would suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, internet, right?
Yeah, anyway.
All right. Okay.
Okay, well, with that addition, I'll request we approve the changes you made to the CIP.
Okay.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, and that's all I have for you.
Who seconded? Jeff seconded?
I do.
T.Y. seconded.
Okay, new business. Skydive Windy City?
Yes, Skydive Windy City. Operating agreement extension. So they need another extension. We do annual extensions for them. Their annual extension is over April 14th, 2022. I printed out last year's. I don't have this year's yet, friends. You're just gonna, Bill's just gonna update the wording in it to say 2022 to 2023 instead. Nothing has changed. They still have their fuel tank. Still talks about all the fuel tank stuff. They're putting new signs out on the end of the fence there because that one's like totally washed out. So they'll have a new sign down there. They're gonna put a new sign on their hangar. They're getting a PAC 750 again this year. It's gonna be from a different company, but it will be a PAC 750. They did have some staff changes. The pilot, Julie, isn't with him anymore. So now he's gonna have, he's a commercial pilot himself, obviously, Troy. So he'll be flying, and then he also has another pilot or two. One of them had been coming and training with Julie like all last year, literally. So he'll be ready this year. And he's been jumping forever, skydiving forever, and flying planes, for skydive companies for a long time. So he'll be there, and
Here's a question I have.
Sure.
I mean, so we now know Troy, right? I mean, the guy's done an excellent job. I mean, he's a trustworthy, responsible individual. Is there a way that we can make this a 2-year thing rather than a 1-year thing? I mean, I'm just like, you know,
Yeah, I think as long as nothing like super changes in it, because the thing is he's talked about, you know, like kind of giving up the reins and letting somebody else kind of buy him out of it and stuff. So it's like, I guess just for that reason, skydiving, we all know different places, people come and go and owners come and change and managers. And so I feel like from what we've been through with skydiving here before, this is the safest bet. Because we know what we're gonna get every year.
But
And
he's a-
literally, it's just, it's a change on the date on there. That's all it is.
Okay, I'm just thinking that he's been so,
Yeah, he's happy with the annual.
Okay.
He doesn't request that it's extended longer than that.
Okay, that's
He's-
fine. I was
Yeah,
just
he's
asking.
happy with the annual. But yeah, I mean, that's a good point,
it
but,
saves us doing this every year, just doing it once every 2 years and, you know, so anyways.
so, but yeah, he's fine with doing that. I would prefer doing annual because, you know, you never know what could change with them businesses. I don't know. So, do we want to wait for him?
Oh, I have
Wait
to.
for a second? Okay,
He has to call a vote.
okay.
We get make a motion.
Yeah.
This week,
We did.
I'll make a motion to approve Skydive Windy City 2022 operating agreement.
second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried.
I'm ready you for everything. Might be getting those wrong. Yay, you're up! Yay, are you excited? Are you asleep over there? Are you sleeping? Okay. I would be if I were you.
I'm listening in.
You,
Good information.
90% of them are like this.
Lots of good stuff.
right? All right.
Your hanger.
Do you have any questions?
So what, I mean, my first question,
Brian.
Brian.
Yeah.
So my first question is, why Michigan City?
Why Michigan City? Good question. So I currently live in the Chicago area. Me and my wife have a couple properties here in Michigan City in the Beach Walk community, of which I've been on the board there before. I'm actually running for the board again right now. And our long-term plan is, when my daughter goes to school here in another year, she's going off to college. We're selling our Chicago place and we're moving to Michigan City full-time. We may end up traveling back and forth between Florida. We haven't decided that yet, but for the most part, our plan is to stay here. So I'm currently have my plane based in Griffith. And while it's a fine airport, you know, being that I'm going to be here in Michigan City, I'd rather be here than in Griffith. So that's kind of my long-term plan. So
I'm happy that you.
I gotta get out of Illinois, basically,
Yes.
at the end of the day. So
Nice, I'm happy that
after all these years, so
very cool, welcome.
yep. And in my background, by the way, I'm in IT. I've been in telecom IT since 1988, so I have a lot of knowledge in wireless, telecommunications, fiber optics, all that sort of stuff. We sold our company last year of 13 years. We were in a telecom distribution business. So I'm part-time or partially retired now. So
Time to do other things.
looking to do other things, get involved in other things, whatever, you know, so, yeah. Michigan City is a growing town. I mean, there's a lot happening here. There's, I know Sue, the building commissioner side, because I'm working with her right now and another contractor. We're building a $2 million clubhouse in Beach Walk right now, and I'm doing all the access control and cameras and fiber and all that sort of stuff for that. And but yeah, no, it's great. It's great town, and easy going and everything, and so.
Very cool.
The new NICD project, that's gonna be really cool, and the double track project. It's done. I've done stuff with NICD in the past too, so I know NICD very well, but yeah.
Very good.
Yep.
Well, I've looked at their plans, and they're very well done. I don't think they'll have any problems getting state design release or anything. So from an engineering standpoint, and we've worked with them on the location already.
Yeah, I do have a question.
To give you an idea of the cost of this, if you're interested, I'm estimating this is going to be about 175 to 200 when the project is done. So just to give you an idea of the cost of everything that we've done today so far. I saw you talking about bifold doors earlier. We're going to use Schweiss doors for the bifold doors, $23,000 for the bifold doors for this project. So to give you an idea.
Yeah. I do have a comment. The first is the plat. The plot, you got it, why are we leaving so much space between the building to the east of them?
Well, so originally the architect threw it in the middle. So there's a reason why I don't want to be in the middle, and if you look over there, there's actually some drainage. There's a drainage sewer and everything over there, and I'm trying to stay to the right of the drainage otherwise there's going to be a lot of work moving that drainage piece that's there.
But the drainage is on the taxiway, or is it in the?
No, it's like in the middle.
It would literally fall right, if I put it in the middle, it would fall right in the middle of the paved, the driveway, basically, and I really didn't want to deal with that, so. And also by sliding it over, I believe gives you enough room to eventually build another hangar in there as well someday if you choose to do so.
Well, that was the other question. It looks, you're leaving, what is that, 80 feet, 82 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the other person would build right to the other side.
Yeah.
But then we have a building setback of what, 10 feet between hangars, minimum?
30 feet between hangars.
30? Is it
I
30?
believe it was 30 for fire code.
The Indiana building, or International Building Code was 30 feet with no firewalls.
Yeah.
You can get them closer together if you put firewalls, but that's an extra expense.
Yeah.
Where do you get the 82 feet?
Oh, right here, you can barely see it.
That's fine.
I see 92.
That number.
92.
Jessica.
Oh, it's 92. 92.
John Rocco.
But then you have to do.
And then the outside,
30 to 37.
that will be the same color as everybody else's?
Well, if you whatever color we designated, I didn't designate a color, I'm assuming it's going to fit into whatever's already there, so I'm not going to do bright purple or pink or
Ooh, recommend purple.
My aircraft is yellow in color, so you could do a yellow hanger, but whatever, but no, just saying,
For aesthetics, I like to say everything just blend in.
yeah, I'm sure just a gray or a beige or something like that is probably.
Yeah, we were all in the sandstone and beige.
Yeah.
Tan and beige colors is what we try to keep it
But if
consistent.
you wanted a color of his own, can he choose a color of his own? I mean,
Well, that's our decision. I mean, that's what we decide here.
yeah.
Every hangar has been required to use.
So we just kind of
light
want him
and
to
color.
blend in rather than stand out like crazy.
Yeah, we've always just went with.
Barn red or.
Kind of like an HOA.
Yeah. Well, we hope that works for you, right?
I love colors, so I mean, I'll do whatever you want, right? So.
That would be consistent. That's what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting consistency.
Well, I like consistency too.
I do have another question. You've got a bathroom in this.
I do, so I had the architect draw it in because we're obviously still trying to work with the city to find out if we can get water there. I would obviously really highly like to have water of some kind in there because for many different reasons. One, I originally was going to put an underfloor heating system in on the boiler versus an overhead heater because the underfloor is a lot more efficient for heat than. But without any water, it may become next to near impossible to put a water system in there. Yeah, obviously having a bathroom would be convenient. Obviously, there's one here that I can use. But yeah, so, and obviously just for basic washing of the hands and just anyway. You know,
Sure. So you're going to need a building permit from the city.
Oh, yeah.
And then we don't have sewage there, we don't have water.
I know that's
So, if you present that to them, in my opinion, just my opinion here, it's like, you're gonna challenge them. If you have a bathroom in the plant, you'll be challenging them, because no hangar has so-called a bathroom, or.
Well, because they were all grandfathered.
If there is a
Talked
water,
about,
there's plenty of wells, there's a lot of wells out here, so that happens, they dig wells.
but not anymore, you can't dig wells. Those were all
Right.
grandfathered in before this property had water ran to it.
Oh, now
So
we have
that's why
water.
they're allowed to have their wells and their tanks still.
Where's the water?
Troy's got water.
Correct, but he has it right off he can't come off this main right here. He's gotta come off 212.
Brian
The
does.
main, yes, Brian does in that section.
Yeah, it's further away.
I know how much public works projects are. So obviously they could easily exceed the cost of this hangar if, if they wanted it to. So obviously I'm not gonna do that. So I mean, I'll live without the water, but if I can find some way to make it happen, I would certainly love to do it, so.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to spend up to
stuff it in,
$20,000 or so, or $25,000 if it deems,
Well, it'd be both, it's the water, but it's not just one.
Yeah, that'll save a lot of money.
You can't pipe water without having a sewage.
So,
Well, didn't we get an estimate from them?
$360,000, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So,
But that was for
Could we try, we were gonna
it was just
bring
bringing one
services in,
one
so the
main.
tenants can tap into it.
I mean, that would certainly be ideal, right? If you had like some common system that everyone can
It
then
sure would.
tie
So that
into.
would require all the tenants there to chip in to solve that problem.
they would have to tap, and so they'd have to pay for their own line from that.
Well, Brian would pay for it, then he could sell
Yeah, right?
access.
Still sure.
50,000 for you, 70,000 for you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to get into that or not, but.
You don't want to be an infrastructure utility?
Yeah, right.
So you got a recent quote?
Yeah, that recent quote, it was just like a rough
We've been talking
estimate.
to?
But that was a rough estimate over the phone. And so I told him I wanted it in writing, and he hasn't given it to me in writing.
Because it's like a full
That's crazy.
water main, or it's fire hydrant.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big main, you gotta basically tap a large main and,
I mean, if they would allow you to tap a service.
I mean, I need a 3/4 inch or 1 inch line, basically.
Usually those are like $20,000 or something like that.
You could run a line over, and then the city's concern is, are you gonna
You can
allow
run it and
whatever, 20
just have it there, and they'll do a tap for it. It'll be a tap fee.
So that's why they want to just put a main down there, but at
You can run your own.
$360,000,
But then
it's a tough.
you
Yeah.
need to run that sewer line.
Yeah, no, I can't do that.
That's the same thing.
And then I don't think they're asking you to.
And the next thing is to put a cistern in underground and collect rainwater off the roof, basically, and, just use the rainwater collection system or something for water.
Well, let's brainstorm outside the meeting. and
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
We'll brainstorm outside the meeting.
I got a question with the hangar. If, with the setbacks, it's gonna leave us with a rather possibly unusable lot right there, unless we have a firewall planned in the western wall. Is that where it would need to be, Paul?
Well, so I did the math on it, and if you don't have any firewalls, then you could put a 50-foot wide building in there. So you can still build something for a single engine piston or something in there.
That's the executive taxiway. So that taxiway is rated at a higher rating.
Yeah. If you wanted to put another 70-foot wide building in there, you'd have to.
So that taxiway is for the larger aircrafts, or the CJ2s and twins, whatever. And then if you come down to the next taxiway, you see that those hangars are smaller hangar.
Yeah.
Those are more for the smaller aircraft that doesn't require the big hangars. That's just,
Yeah, 40 foot, that's 39.
it just has a two different rating taxiway, so we can't put a Cessna jet in whatever tax was that.
Well, the reason I built it that way is because my future plans are eventually I may end up with a light jet.
I have your plane, sure.
It's some point in time, 3, 4, or 5 years down the road somewhere, so I'm planning for it. Or if I don't, the building's there and can be used for it, so, yeah.
Well, so to get to the point, I mean, you're asking, should we have them do a firewall now to sort of reduce the setback to the,
Because you said it's 30 feet between buildings without firewall, is that correct?
right?
And with the firewall, it's 10?
You can get, I mean,
If you can enclose them with the firewalls.
Right.
I'm trying to remember the building code, but 30 and greater is basically nothing. 30 down to 10 is, I believe, a 2-hour firewall. And below 10 is on a case-by-case
Which means
basis.
two 5/8 sheets of drywall on the entire side of the building.
Right.
And would that be something that,
It's gonna add significant cost. I was trying to avoid a firewall, that's why I did it the way I did it, but,
well, I mean, it's just as far as the airport is concerned, I don't know what the other board members feel about it, but I wouldn't want to, it would seriously restrict a future hangar to the west of your proposed hangar.
How tall is your door?
it's, the ceiling, the clear height's 6 feet.
What is the distance?
Top of the door?
Yeah.
Okay,
This is
so
his hangar, right?
you're building it so
So
it
what
would
is the
take
distance between this and this here?
pretty large aircraft. So it will.
Well, no, this
fit
is
an
just telling you
executive
that it's
aircraft. That's how we
60 feet this way.
look at it, so that was
This
one of
is
the.
60 feet this way.
At one
Yeah, so
time,
there's-
that's a
this is the
requirement
measurement
to
for
be on that
the- so it's
taxiway,
60 feet by
to build
70
something that will be able to
So it's
house
92.4
Bravo aircraft.
between
What
his
would
hangar.
be the cost of
and
the
then
additional
this lot.
firewall on that western?
I don't have those numbers because I hadn't planned on putting that in, so,
So
Another way to look at it is the building that's gonna go in the small spot, if it had the firewalls, then it could be 10 feet from his building.
Well, you have to figure they both gotta be 70 feet in order to be for that class Bravo, if we can fit it. We have to move the main.
Yeah, so you already had 19 feet from that lease line to the next building.
Okay,
And if you did 10 feet between his and a future building, theoretically, you'd get 72 feet in
there
there.
you go. Perfect.
But, that's putting that firewall expense on the next guy, which I suppose, hey, that's the.
Well,
So what about the drainage?
Last guy.
But
What about the drainage?
Paul,
Yeah, they're gonna have to fix the
in our
drainage.
twin here,
Yeah.
I mean, as an executive taxiway, that's for the bigger airplanes. We only got 2 spots plus that nook in there that we don't know what we're doing with that nook yet. So really, we've got 2 hangar spots available for anyone that has a large aircraft. Or, if we can get to 5,000,
Yeah.
and we're looking for that. So I'm just, how do we best utilize those 2 spots without canceling or making the other one a half a spot, that's all.
Right.
So if the new guy that came in, he could build a 70-foot, but he'd have to have the firewalls.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have to have the firewalls, the new guy has
The
to.
way I look at the code is it's a 2-hour firewall between one of the structures.
Okay.
They would both have to have the 2-hour
Okay.
firewall.
Or maybe the one has it next to them, but I doubt it. But
I
Well, then they'd have to if they want.
Yeah, they have to if they want to build it
Yeah,
there.
they would have to, yeah.
So chunk the expense to the next guy, right?
So,
Could you split it? Let's say you don't have one, but the
it's in
next
the
guy
building.
would,
It's in the
but
building.
he would do half of what the actual firewall did, and set that money aside or something like that. So if somebody else did it, the other guy's putting one in, he pays half, he's already paid half. So it'd be done that way, so you're not putting the burden on the other new guy?
I mean, I guess if he wants to go in there, that's his
Are
prerogative,
those steel studs?
right?
This is to.
No, this is pole barn, this is a pole barn style.
So it's wooden, 6x6?
Yeah.
Okay, Paul, I hate to beat this to death, but if they both had a firewall, then how, could they be closer than 10 feet or?
I think it's saying 10 feet.
I can't remember how the code is less than 10 feet. 10 feet they really don't like because on firefighting.
You can't fly down.
There's space between the buildings to get in there.
You can't get in there.
Right, I think if you get less than 10 feet, you almost treat them like an adjoining structure. Not adjoining structures, we separate with 2-hour firewalls all the time. If you had a hangar and you had an office lean-to, like an office space with some restroom, you have to put a 2-hour firewall between the two, because it's 2 different occupancy codes. So, we do it all the time, and that's 2 hours, so I mean, I don't know, I guess if you had him do 2 hour, then the next guy wouldn't necessarily have to on that particular side, but.
It's not fair to Brian, he's here first.
Well, I mean, there is something to be said in development, it pays not to be the last one.
Yeah.
That's true. As long as we can get another 70-foot building, if we get 2 70-foot buildings in that space, then it's.
Which means the next guy would just have to have a firewall.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's hope there's the next guy, because it took quite a while for this space to be filled. So,
Will be, when you get this runway extension done,
It'll be in spurts.
I think so, the double
What was the last time we had a water bill?
I think when the rubber
Dan
was
Burma,
done.
or Skydiving was last.
Skydiving.
And then before that was Dan Burma. That was in 2010.
see, no, it stays on the other
So-
side of the runway, the hangars over there.
But before
5
that, in
years.
2000, there was a bunch of them.
This is since I've been here since 2008, that's what it's been.
What is the runways that said I couldn't see this?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot in like
Yeah.
the 90s, late 90s.
Kirk, I think it's okay, you know, I mean,
Yeah, I do too.
I would make a motion that we, right? We need a motion, right?
Yeah.
I would make,
So this is a motion that he just like moves on, do you know what I mean? With like, he can't build or construct anything
Yeah,
until he's got all the permits and everything like that.
Yeah.
So this is just you guys approving this building going in this location, go ahead, like
Okay.
the
And the rest
blessing.
goes on to the city with the building codes and the permits.
Everything.
Inspections and everything else.
And he's gonna have to get, like a lease with me, and so, I mean, you guys are approving him to move forward, not necessarily, he's not ready to construct today.
Yeah.
all right, so yeah, I make a motion that the new airplane hangar by Mr. Burgess, just follow the next procedures on, so.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And good luck. We're happy to have you, we really are.
You'll be all right.
All right. Let's see. Claims docket.
Make a motion, we approve the claims docket for February, 32,401,
I second that.
Somebody else written on the back of it.
and the second of March, 3,434.12.
So I second.
Oh, yeah,
You are-
no, I second the first, you second the second.
All in favor?
Second.
All in favor on the second one?
Yeah.
Aye. The motion carries.
Second, I like that.
All right. Correspondence?
None.
Public comment?
I have a public comment. I think we should try to do some activity here this year.
Okay.
I don't know what it is we're gonna do, but we need to bring pilots back here. Short of pancake or something, but some
Pancakes will get
Taco
you.
truck Tuesday.
some activity here. So, I mean, so I don't know. I have that feeling we need
Okay,
something.
yeah. Well, what about the police were doing it?
Yep, the pancake breakfast, the only reason that it wasn't out here the last 2 years was because of COVID.
Yeah.
So now, I feel like COVID is
It's over. Notwithstanding these gentlemen.
over
here,
enough.
Not really. It's still around.
Yeah, it's over enough that I feel like we can move forward.
So, it could just be, I mean, if it's not possible for the pancake breakfast to take place, but at least for some kind of aviation activity.
Okay.
Maybe invite pilots from Illinois, Wisconsin, nearby states to just come in, and some of us can donate monies for a nice truck or something.
Thinking about the food trucks.
Food truck, and then just have some activity here,
Look at 1 Charlie 5 Cloud Report in Bolingbrook, what they do in the summertime. They do this big aviation event, and families, kids, they bring in, you know, planes fly in and have a little aviation event that's really cool. Athens, Florida, Taco Truck Tuesdays is really successful. Pilots fly in from all over the place for that. Yeah, there's a bunch of little things that could be.
Yeah,
We need a gas fire pit out here.
yeah, I like it.
We got the fire department right there, we're all set.
It's gonna be in the pilot lounge.
There you go.
I like that.
Jeff's all over it. I just heard him volunteer.
All right,
I work with Jeff.
sounds good to me.
Yeah, so.
Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Nice to meet you, Brian.
Fifteen.